Andy in the attic here with another sacred cow ready for the slaughter. The unconscious mind doesn't process negations. This is one of those tropes I have heard continuously since I first got into hypnosis, long before I started studying or learning about NLP. And I think this is probably as prevalent in the hypnotherapy world as it is in the NLP world, and then beyond into the other alphabet therapies. It has, like the others, it has a basis to it. It has some degree of validity. It's not necessarily the principle I'm against, it's what the practitioners do with it. And I need to just make something clear here. Apparently, according to some people over on Reddit, I'm attacking NLP. And I've heard that a lot over the years. I attack NLP. I'm going to challenge people to give me demonstrations of that, examples of that from my conduct or behavior. It's not NLP I have a go at. It's the practitioners and some of the trainers. They are the target. It is the people, not necessarily the field. The field, I think, is rife for debate and probably even further development and valid criticism. That's not the same thing, though. It is the excesses that the practitioners and some of these idiot trainers, and there's more of them every year, it is what they are doing with it. It would be just the same if I was having a go at mathematicians to attack. If mathematicians were behaving in a similar way and I were to have a go at them, it doesn't mean I'm trying to invalidate the field of mathematics. Just to make that clear. Anyway, the unconscious mind doesn't process negations. So, if I say, don't forget to do X, Y, and Z, they have no choice now. They have been suggested, I have hypnotically persuaded them to forget, because the brain doesn't process negations. I've actually experienced this firsthand in a training room. It was an NLP group. I was a guest presenter at the tail end of a course where they bring in guest trainers for various bits and masterclasses and stuff like that. So I wasn't teaching NLP, I was teaching my own stuff, and it was to an NLP group. At lunchtime, I needed them to be sure to bring something back from lunch for purposes in the afternoon. We'll spare you the details of what that was about. As they were all getting up to go, I said, right, and don't forget to bring back such and such. To which sudden commotion, because they'd all learned that now they've been told, don't forget, they must forget. And they actually started laughing and joking about that very issue, and somebody even said, ha ha ha, he doesn't know NLP. Yeah. What I replied was, yeah, I've got to tell you this. Ordinary people can process negations perfectly well. It's just certain NLPers that can't, it seems. So you may just want to, Anyway. Some people can't be helped, I guess. So now, within hypnosis, or using hypnotherapy, or suggestive therapy, or a suggestive approach, even if it's not necessarily in the therapeutic paradigm, if I say something like, look, I'm not accusing you, but up until that moment, you probably never even thought of the fact I was accusing you. And now I'm saying I'm not accusing you, but I've introduced it into the paradigm. I remember once I went into work one morning, and this was when I worked at the hospital, and clearly something was happening. There was an investigation. I don't know what it was at that moment in time, but I could feel the atmosphere the moment I walked in, and clearly I'm thinking, oh, someone's in trouble. And of course, I think I can see everyone's being a little bit paranoid about what the hell's going on. I get called into the office with senior management and whoever it was. I don't know who the other person was. And as I was asked to sit down, they called me my formal name, and Mr. Austin, I think they called me, or Nurse Austin. Nurse Austin, please have a seat. The manager, who I loosely knew, didn't see around very often on the unit, said to me, Andrew, I want you to know that no one's blaming you. Okay. So now I'm suddenly panicking, because I'm thinking, well, who is this no one? And why are they blaming me? Because no one is blaming you. Anyway, the brain does process negations, but what we're actually doing is invoking a subject matter that wasn't previously present. So if I say don't forget to bring something, that's not a suggestion to forget, because people can process that. Of course they can, unless they've done an NLP course. Now, hypnotically, of course, it might be better to frame it in the positive. This is a classic Ericksonian type hypnotherapy, which is do remember to bring such and such, as opposed to don't forget, because for the same principle, we're suggesting the notion of amnesia when there was no amnesia being suggested previously. It wasn't in the paradigm until the speaker communicated it. But that's not to say the brain can't process it. It's just that we've got to be careful what subject matters we're raising. I remember watching in a training sessions when I was a trainee, and I watched, we had to do demonstrations in front of the group. We had to actually do therapy sessions with members of the public who weren't trainees at all. And we had to do that training in front of the group and the assessor. And we had to do that every month. So we had to do 10 of those we had to do. And so it was quite a steep learning curve. And I remember watching one guy, very good, saying to the client, now I want you to relax and just let go all of your stresses, anxieties and worries and all of the anger and rage and negative emotions inside you. And I watched the instructor and the assessor's faces just drop, because in the pre-session nothing of those things had been mentioned whatsoever. And so now the client may not have been thinking of any of those emotions, but now they've been suggested. In order to let them go, they have to be created. So this is not about the brain can't process negations. We have to be careful what we're raising when we attempt to cancel something. Like, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I don't want you to be angry with me, but I don't want you to, that type of framing is bringing something to the fore. Now, if you find somebody who says to you, my brain doesn't process negations, ha 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 ha, smack them. Just smack them. The world will become a better place in an instant. It's fantastic.